But my issue is that liberals are very quick to just accept the narrative, right? And liberals who know nothing. If he wore a Hillary Clinton hat on, I know what Hillary stood for, and I know what Barack Obama stood for.
Honestly, if he was wearing a different hat, then it wouldn't be a story at all. It would be a non-story. There wouldn't be this.
Both college students stunned as one professor exposes liberal double standards and media bias. Watch as this college professor brilliantly uses the example involving a conservative Trump supporter named Nicholas Sandmann and how liberals handled the whole situation and how the media covered it up. Because they actually made him vilify this guy for literally no reason whatsoever. He was just a Trump supporter. He sued the Washington Post for defamation, all this other stuff. We're going to get into this video. This professor is a beast. But before we get into it, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to RTM News to ensure that you are enjoying our videos. And so that way they will continually show up in your feed. And then they'll push it out to more people. I'm Titus. Let's get into this video.
Because this involves me, man. I got caught in clickbait. So we're going to talk about this guy. What actually happened? Now, I don't just like the other guy, I don't know what actually happened, but what I want to, this is a test to all the liberals out here. All the liberals to imagine the narrative that he says is the narrative. And not just him, but lots of other people. But this is the narrative that he says. And by the way, just yesterday, his family filed a lawsuit against the Washington Post for defamation and all sorts of things, right? So it's actually quite timely. So what's happening here? So let me walk you through a few things about this. And what I want you to do is, well, hang on, we'll just walk through, okay? You remember the story?
Yeah, we talked about it.
We talked about it in class, okay. So here, first off, on the mall. So this guy, he's on a school trip. There's about 100 kids, and they're there for a Right to Life rally. Some of them are wearing Trump hats. Some of them are not, but it's a right to life, which means, it tends to be a more conservative thing, anti-abortion. They're Catholic. It's a Catholic school, so the Catholic Church has come down pretty hard against abortion and so on, right? And so immediately we start developing a narrative for who they are and what they believe in, right? These young kids, and they're not all white, but most of them are. And they are going to leave at, say, like 5:30. And the school says, hey, go to the memorial, and we'll meet you there on the steps. Everybody meet up there at 4:30 after a day of sightseeing, and then we're going to go. And we'll see you there. So they get there around 4:30. And these guys are there. Not them, the black Israelite dudes. There are only like 6 or 7 of them. But this is from an earlier a protest that they were having. So these black Israelite dudes. And the black Israelites are like this. It's this movement that kind of started, I think, in the 18th century. And it's a really complex and convoluted, and it's complex. I shouldn't say convoluted. It's very complex. The idea that one of the lost tribes of Israel is actually, ended up in Africa, and they're black people, and so you got Jews here and Jews here and Jews here, and this one of the lost tribes, and so here they are, and so they are really bringing that tribe back. And there's a lot of beliefs that are really interesting, and I'm not really sure where they come from, but lots of religious people can get a really thick book, whether it's the Quran or the Bible or the Torah or the Bhagavad Gita or whatever. And you can pull if it's thick enough, you can pull some really interesting beliefs out of that book. Like, oh my God, where'd you get that from? Okay, are we good? Are we cool? Got it? All right, man. So these guys are there, and they're doing their protest, and they're shouting some things, and the kids start to gather. And these guys start shouting things at the kids. And they're shouting all sorts of stuff, okay? And hang on. One thing, and this is recorded, it's documented, whatever, but this guy, Nick Sandmann, that's this kid right here. So he makes a statement, and he's like, yeah, man, and they're calling them racist, these guys. Again, only about 6 or 7 of them, so, right? Calling them white crackers, bigots, calling them all sorts of things, like incest kids. Like, hey, you kids, you're all incest kids. I don't know what the hell that means, right? But incest kids. So these guys are yelling at the kids. The kids, hey, Jeff, I'm going to need you out here in a second. So then what happens is this guy, Nathan Phillips, this is him out protesting the pipeline out in North Dakota. So he's there with some other folks, and they're doing a protest. And now he's watching the kids all come together because they're being, the black Israelite dudes are hurling epithets at them in all sorts of ways. So we're going to watch this video, and we'll just keep the sound off. It's easier. You guys can read, the subtitles, but we're going to go to 50. So this is Nathan. He's saying, yeah, they sort of look like the Westboro Baptist Church guys. So these are the guys right here, the black Israelites. And he's saying that it's like the Westboro Baptist Church. Remember, those are the guys that God hates F's dudes. And so then the students start coming together. So they're like calling this woman some things and blue-eyed demon, right? So it's really picking up. So the kids all start coming together, and they're like, hey, Billy, come over here, Billy. So the kids say, listen, man, we're going to respond to this. What we're going to do is they're high school kids. These are 14, 15, 16 years old. We're going to start doing our chants. So it's escalating, right? So the whole thing. And he's saying, like, yep, it's going on. Escalates. Well, the kids are stuck there waiting for their folks. There was no buses. They were waiting for everybody to come. So the kids start doing their school chants, right? And the one kid's leading the chants because that's what you do at football games. Hang on. Can you pause? Oh, wait. Hang on. Hit pause. So that's awesome. Is that awesome? Like, for example, how many of you at football games at Penn State take your shirt, paint yourselves, and who has anyone in here prone to taking your shirts off on cold days and painting your bodies at football games? Dude, one guy at the top. Anybody else? So that shouldn't be odd to you, right? So this kid, he's the leader of the cheers. These are standard school cheers that they're doing. And the kids who are now being called, they're in Washington, they're being called all these names by these dudes. They have no idea what's going on. They circle the wagons. They're like, we're going to do these cheers. And we're going to do all of our stuff that we do. And so whoever their chaperone was say, yeah, go ahead, do that. That's really awesome, right?
Instead of just like during football games, people take their shirts off and paint or whatever, it's almost like if a kid from here took out a cowbell and started hitting it. Like, that's pretty much what they were doing.
Yeah, like if they had, at the Penn State games, people playing the cowbells. All right, go ahead. So the kids are doing their thing, right? Now, the kids are holding their place. Now, here's this guy. So Nathan and his group, they start coming over, and then they're gathered. They're going to walk into the crowd of the kids. See, the kids are doing their own thing. They're doing cheers, right? It's all good. And he's coming over to reduce the tension. Okay? And he's saying, okay, I'm just going to keep going. And then ultimately he says, I'm going to keep moving right up the steps. So look at the kids. They're all doing cheers. Got it? So you get that. You get what that is. There's nothing, any of us could be in that group. Doesn't matter. They're all doing their high school cheers. They're having a good step, having a good time. So he's going to go right up to the top, he's saying. Okay? He's going to finish his prayer up there. So this guy, okay, so now he just walks right into this dude. Now stop, right? Okay, go ahead. No, keep going, actually.
He looks like he's about to throw hands in this man's face. He's just smiling on his face. But it's interesting. It is interesting that they're not really doing anything crazy. They're just doing a hi-ho. Or, hey, hi-ho. Oh, death has got to go. Just trying to, I don't know, probably something like that. It's a pro-life event or gathering. These guys do look dangerous.
Okay, so here. Stop. You can kill it. Okay, so you ready? So here's what the young man says. So he says, look, this is a Catholic school. We're brought up to be Catholics. We come from Catholic families. We follow the teachings of the Bible. I have nothing against Native Americans. I have nothing against the black people that were yelling the epitaphs at us, those kind of stuff. I have nothing at all. And so, stand up, bro. So So you're banging a drum, and you just start slowly, just pretend you're banging a drum, and you come toward me, and I'm the kid, and you stop right here, and here I am. Look, here's another narrative. You ready? So even when we talked about this several weeks ago, I looked at, here, hang on. Looked at his face. What do you see in his face? Here's what he says was in his face. Here's what he says you're looking at. So you're banging the drums, like, oh, fuck. Oh, this is awesome, man. Like, here's this Native American guy. I'm in Washington. He's banging his drum, bringing all this energy to this place. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, oh, whoa. Yeah. And then
You can do that, but after a while, you got to move. He's trying to go to the top.
Yeah, but I don't know that. He came and he stopped right here. So he's saying, Nathan later says, yeah, I couldn't go any further. And I'm just like, I'm not blocking it. I'm just like, whoa, he came at me because they locked eyes and we locked eyes and we come together. And then here he is. So here's my question. Is it because he has the Trump? You can sit down, bro. Thanks. Is it because how much of our willingness, including my own, originally, even though I said, like, I don't know what the story is, but if he was my kid, I'd feel some kind of way about him showing a certain kind of disrespect to elders. But from his perspective, and then I stood in his shoes as a 15-year-old, as me today. If Nathan Phillips had come at me like that, I'd have been standing there in the same way with that same shit-eating grin on my face going like, whoa, this is awesome, man. Like,
No, I'd be like, why are you in my face? I mean, that's another thing. Like, the guy came up to him. Nick they met, whatever, had connected, locked eyes, whatever you want to say. And he went up to him, smacking this thing in his face. What are you supposed to do? Back down and be like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. No, you didn't do anything wrong. And you do have to think about both perspectives. That's the thing about media, though. They spin a narrative so you can only see one side of things and only see one perspective. And it's so disingenuous in the way they report. They're not objective. Not only are they subjective, they manipulate to spin things in the way that they want it to be seen. And that's what's wrong. I really appreciate this professor he's probably clearly more left-leaning, willing to be objective and seeing the perspective of both individuals involved in this scenario.
like one of those, bro, Simon, like a stoned face, you know what I mean? Just like, whoa. Like, is it possible that one of the reasons that the entire country turned on this kid so easily and so quickly, is it possible, or how possible is it, or how much of the reason is because he's wearing a Trump hat?
Yo, Sam, I also think with you saying locking eyes with, a native person who's playing on drums and praying or whatever, you understand what that means. This kid probably didn't. So when he was standing up there, he may have been trying to block him. He may have just been looking at him. The thing is that you're trying to get at that I think people in here might understand is the media went way too far in hating on him.
Well, here's the deal. When you say blocking, understand that there's no blocking. He's not the only kid here. It's like, it's this whole, look, right here. It's like, this dude right here is Nick Sandmann, and the rest of you are Nick's group. So if you're saying like Nick should get out of the way, why? There's nowhere for Phillips to go. He's like right here. Where is he going to go? Here? He's going to go here. He's going to go here. You can't get out of the way. It's just part of it. It's this big crowd of people. So it's not about him being in the way. It's about us I think it's about the narrative of seeing the Trump hat and then just immediately saying like, the kid is an arrogant little prick. Here, look, you ready?
That's exactly what it was. It was the fact that he had Trump. If he wasn't wearing a Trump hat, there was controversy wouldn't be here. They'd be like, oh, there wouldn't even be a story. I don't think it would be a story. But he's wearing a Trump hat. He's wearing a MAGA hat, which means he's evil, which means he's a villain, which means he's a problem. And keep in mind, this is 2019, so it was very heightened. This is like, we're in year 3 of Trump's presidency, or 4, I don't remember. And the people that hate him. And they're going to cover him negatively. They're going to cover his supporters negatively. We're the Nazis. Don't forget that. He's Hitler. We're sheep. he's the master. Like, that's how they make it seem. And so there's no doubt in my mind that if he wasn't wearing that MAGA hat, we would not have been, this wouldn't even be a story.
Even after all this came out, here are still the responses. This little liar and the pieces of shit who defend him while wearing their Christianity on their sleeves. Seriously? And then they're all but decked out in their MAGA gear. They're invincible and entitled and superior. Why can't you believe him? Why can't you believe Nick Sandmann? Because he has a Trump hat on? Like, why don't you just believe him?
I think something that's not being overlooked, but the fact that you're saying like it's just because he has a Trump hat on, but that's a very large factor in the fact that when he put that hat on, he chose to represent a campaign that was built on hate, that was built on discriminating against people of color. And although he's young and he's a kid, like he chose to put that on. So he can say all he wants, like, oh, I don't have anything against people of color, I don't have anything against blah, blah, blah. But his hat is saying complete opposite. And although those things might not represent his ideal values, he still is saying, okay, well, Trump saying this isn't a deal breaker.
You know,
And that's where you're wrong. And this is why I can't stand this. Everything that you just said that the campaign represents is something that you've been lied to by the media, just like this story. Just like this story. Everything you just said, none of that was grounded in truth. All of that was manipulated and spun by the media. Narratives that CNN was propagating every single day. That's so annoying. So annoying. Because and even though he's a kid, he's still stamping. Like, you want to be held responsible? If it was bad, you want to be held responsible for everything you did when you were 15 years old, when you were a child? Obviously, there's a level of a competence at that age. You know what you're doing to a degree, but obviously there's a lot of immaturity there too. You want any justification to hate him because he supported Trump because the media told you to. Crazy. Let's see what the professor has to say.
you just walked into quicksand, right? So what if he had an Obama hat? What if he had a Hillary Clinton hat?
He would be representing that too, and like it would still be wrong. But
Yeah, but what would it mean to somebody like you if he had a Hillary hat?
She's saying that the media portrayed him that way because of the Trump hat. Same thing that you're saying. And he chose to wear that. He chose to let that represent him, a movement that has not been supportive of people of color or narrative.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
But my issue is that liberals are very quick to just accept the narrative, right? And liberals who know nothing. If he wore a Hillary Clinton hat on, I know what Hillary stood for, and I know what Barack Obama stood for.
Honestly, if he was wearing a different hat, then it wouldn't be a story at all. It would be a non-story. There wouldn't be this.
Literally proving the point. Oh, it would be a non-story. Right. Everyone's not the same. People are complex. You can support a political candidate and not like certain things about them. Like, even with Trump, I'm so pro-life. Like, I hate his position on abortion. Still support the man over Kamala Harris, over Hillary, over Joe. Oh my gosh.
It's twisting.
Exactly.
And it probably, yes, okay, like I'm making your point.
Yeah, you are.
Like,
Thanks, dog.
like you're welcome,
but the fact of the matter is that he wore that hat.
Yeah, he did, but whatever. That shouldn't matter at all. Like, come on, man.
These kids are just that, kids. It is over their head. Over their head. Everything that he is trying to say. You cannot ascribe every single facet of one individual onto another because they may have some sort of similarities or likings to another individual. But that's what they do. One size fits all. Hive mind. You must all believe the same. You must all think the same. If you don't, you're the problem. That's not how people are. People are complex. It is. Oh my gosh. This professor, I appreciate him and his hard work in trying to wake up a woke college to just reality and being critical in their thinking. And I hope some of these people gain something from it because my goodness, they needed it. Well, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment your thoughts down below. I really want to know what you guys think about this. Shout out to this professor for doing the Lord's work, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.